Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, NTT Indy Car, Good Rancher 250 from Phoenix. 250 miles, 255.5 miles, 250 laps. This is race 2 of the 18, excuse me. So there's 6 on an oval, 6 street, and 6 on the road course. Last week at St. Petersburg on the street course, I was 1-0, picked Alex Palou to win. Obviously, Alex Palou, 3 straight championships, 4 of the last 5. He's won 17 races during that time. He's won 17 of the last 53 races, which is 32%. He started last year winning 5 of 6, the first 6. He's obviously 1-0 this year. More than likely, he's going to win this one. This guy's just good. Alright, 10 of the past 13 winners at Phoenix have been part of the Fast 6. Now, they started racing at Phoenix. This is the 66th open wheel race at Phoenix. Obviously, the IndyCar has been around for quite a number of years, but it's obviously went through a bunch of name changes and whatnot. So let's pull up Phoenix here. I thought I actually wrote this. So this is actually the 14th race at Phoenix under the NTT IndyCar banner. So let's see here. Here we go. So when it was AAA and USAC, they started racing at Phoenix in 1964. They ran through 1978. Most years are 2 races. CART and CCW took over in 1979. And that ran through 1995, and then 1996 is when the Indy Car Series took over, and then they ran until 2005, and then they came back 16, 17, and 18. They haven't been there since until this year. So if you look at those previous 13, 10 of the 13 were part of the Fast 6. Now, obviously, during practice and qualifying today, we had several incidents. We had several people have to go to backup cars or actually work on there. David Malukas is on the pole. And then, let's see, he's got Justin Newgarden on his outside, so an all Penske front row. And then an all Rahal, Letterman, Langley Racing, second row, Graham Rahal and Mick Schumacher. Who knew Mick Schumacher could go in a circle? That's kind of cool. Then another Team Penske 5th, and did not qualify. We had Felix Rosenquist and then Will Power. Neither of them were able to qualify. Will Power's had just a bad start to his Andretti Global career. Justin Newgarden was actually fastest in final practice, followed by Marcus Ericsson and Pato O'Ward. Alex Palou is starting 10th for Ganassi. So that actually doesn't, that's 10 of 13. So yeah, there was 3 that didn't start in the Fast 6. But if you look at the Fast 6 from qualifying, it was Malukas, Newgarden, Rahal, Schumacher, Scott McLaughlin, and Alexander Rossi. 4 of the last 5 winners at Phoenix started between 5th and 7th. So that's going to be McLaughlin, Rossi, Pato O'Ward, Renus VK. I'm not seeing the 10th place starter there. That's Alex Palou. That's interesting. In the last 2 races, which is 2017, 2018, there was only 2 cautions. So we could have a lot of green flag pit stops. And we saw how much blocking there was on the outlap coming out of them pitting there at St. Petersburg. Because you had people that pitted the lap before. They're up to speed, tires are hot, people coming off of the pit road and right in front of them, and you had some blocking and some whatnot there that almost caused some issues. So with the oval track, I don't know if we're going to see that here like we did on the street courses, but it'll be very interesting. Now, if you look at the last 11 races on these flat oval tracks, I'm talking like the Gateway races, Iowa, Milwaukee, Nashville. So 2024 and 2025, there's 11 races on those style of tracks. Scott McLaughlin has the best average finish of 7.27 with 2 wins. Alex Palou, 7.45 with a win. Scott Dixon 7.63, Santino Ferrucci 8.45, Paddle Award 8.90 with 2 wins, Christian Rasmussen 9.83 with a win, Joseph Newgarden 10.18 with 2 wins, Colton Herta 10.81, Renus BK 10.90, and Kyle Kirkwood 12.0. Now, if you just look at 2025, so just last year on the flat tracks, again, Gateway, Iowa, Milwaukee, and Nashville, we had 5 races. Alex Palou actually had the best average finish of those tracks for last year at 3.6 with a win, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s. So, yeah, he was up there in all of them. Scott Dixon, 7.45, or 7.4 with 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s. Paddle Award, 7.4 with a win, 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s. Christian Rasmussen with a win, average finish of 9.0. Joseph Newgarden with a win, average finish of 9.0. Santino Ferrucci, average finish of 10.0. Marcus Armstrong 10.0. Scott McLaughlin 12.0. David Malukas 12.4. And Renus BK 12.6. Now, the last 3 races at Phoenix 2016, 17, 18, only 5 drivers are in the field tomorrow that raced in those races. That is Scott Dixon, who has an average finish of 5.0. Justin Newgarden, 5.6 for the win. Alexander Rossi, 10.6. Will Power, 11.3. And Graham Rahal, 16.3. So right now, the top 10 in the NTT IndyCar point standings, we have Paddle Award with that win last week leading the way. Scott McLaughlin, minus 11. Christian Lundgaard, minus 17. Kyle Kirkwood, minus 21. Paddle Award, minus 23. Marcus Ericsson, minus 24. Joseph Newgarden, minus 26. Roman Grosjean, minus 29. Renus BK, minus 31. And Dennis Hager, minus 33. Now, one thing that I meant to do it last week and didn't actually get it done, is on the, what is it called? The app Grid Rival, there is a fantasy league. Who knew, right? I didn't know that. And I actually was able to join it last week. I was joining the Hinchtown, was it Hammerdown? What is the name of that? It's James Hinchcliffe. It's actually his fantasy league. I saw it on X, and I decided to join it. So Hinchtown, Hammerdown. So I went ahead and joined that fantasy league, set my fantasy team up. It's kind of like DraftKings, where you got a budget of $100,000, and you got to build drivers around it, or $100 million, excuse me. A couple of these drivers are very expensive, so I had to do some top ones and some bottom ones to kind of make the money work out. So we're going to see how we do on that. And so what I'm doing with that game is I'm doing Alex Palou, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Santonio Ferrucci, Renus BK, and Nolan Siegel. So kind of see how we're going to do there. I know I do play NASCAR Fantasy as well, so I talk about those in the NASCAR videos as well. If you're new to Robert Sports Show, welcome. I do NASCAR, I do pro wrestling, I do football. NASCAR and pro wrestling, kind of the top 2, and then I started doing IndyCar this year, mainly because of the St. Petersburg race last week with the Truck Series, and this week at Phoenix with the Cup Series and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I want to do more stuff with IndyCar. I've done like 3 or 4 in the past. And I'm trying to learn, kind of understanding it all, like the push to pass and stuff. That's kind of new to me. And they talked about that a lot last week at the street circuit. And then the out laps when it comes to pit stops and whatnot. And so it's like, okay, kind of learning that, understanding what they're doing there. The Fast 6, Fast 12 for qualifying, that's kind of different as well. And so what I do on the NASCAR side is I pick 4 drivers. And because that's typically about, 13% of the field. With IndyCar having a smaller field, I'm only doing 3 drivers. So last week, my 3 picks to win at St. Petersburg were Scott McLaughlin, Alex Palou, and Marcus Ericsson. And so Alex Palou ended up winning, so I'm 1-0 in the picks. So this week for the Good Ranchers 250 there at Phoenix, the picks are going to be Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, and Paddle Award. And the way I kind of come about those picks is I look at the flat tracks here, like last year, Alex Palou, Scott Dixon, Paddle Award. And then I look at overall flat tracks for the last couple of years. Scott McLaughlin, Alex Palou, Scott Dixon, Santino Ferrucci. When I was looking at the market like this week, Pedal Award, Scott McLaughlin, they run well. I was kind of tossed between McLaughlin and Scott Dixon. But when you look at just last year flat tracks, Dixon was second, and McLaughlin was down a little bit. But if you look at the flat tracks over the last 2 years, McLaughlin led the way. So he had kind of an off year last year. It's like, kind of go back and forth on that. So I went ahead and did Palou, Scott McLaughlin, and Palou Award. So we're going to see how we do with those picks, how we do with the fantasy team there, Hinchtown, Hammerdown, Alex Palou, Kyle Cookwood, Christian Lundgaard, Santino Ferrucci, Renus VK, and Nolan Siegel. We'll kind of give those updates on those for next week. I think next week is, what is next week's race? I'm still learning the schedule here for the old NTT Indy Car. I have it kind of bookmarked here. So find the schedule. Here we go. So this week we're in Phoenix, and next week the 15th we have the Streets of Arlington. The 29th we have Barber Motorsports Park, and then we go to the Streets of Long Beach April 19th. Hey, it's WrestleMania weekend. So yeah, going busy that weekend. Whew. Okay. Anyway, that is the Good Ranchers 250 preview. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content.